Just wanted to warn you ahead of time about this video. It's not going to be exciting. It's not going to be rabies or ships being attacked or anything like that. It's going to be something that takes us into the Wayback Machine a little bit as far as the channel goes. The channel got its start talking about the Electoral College in the run-up to the voting in the last national election, which really is kind of a misnomer because we don't have a national election. Now, the reason that I brought this tab up to start is because of what California is talking about doing. What California is talking about doing is splitting up into 3 different states. And according to the U.S. Constitution, that would then give the state 4 more senators. Well, what would have been the state? 4 more senators. You'd have to have 2 more senators for each of the 2 new states. They're talking about North California, South California, and New California. And they're saying that this would give California more of an accurate representation because some of these areas are more conservative, some of these areas are more liberal, but it wouldn't change their representation in the House of Representatives because that's based on population. And this is how it was meant to be. We have one house of the legislature that deals with popular issues because California has like 53. I think in the House of Representatives, where places like Wyoming and South Dakota, they have like 1 because it's a population issue. But then in the Senate, we have, no matter how populous your state is, you have 2. Now, I think that's probably familiar to everyone, that paradigm. But it's important to understand why this is critical. Because what California is saying here is that federal issues, things that rise to the level of involving the federal government, are more important than them staying united as a state and settling their own issues inside of their own state. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. This is what they're crying and whining about here, is that, oh, we have so many people, but we're so underrepresented in the Senate, is that little tiny itty-bitty South Dakota has exactly the same say in the Senate as we do. Well, that's how it was meant to be, California. That's exactly how it was designed to be. You have your say in the House of Representatives. House of Representatives is where law begins. Yes, it's ratified in the Senate, but this is how the Constitution works. And if you decide that you're going to say, okay, now we're 3 states, and so we get 4 more senators, well, okay, well then Florida's going to divide itself into 5 states now, and we're going to get 8 more senators. And then Iowa's going to say, okay, well, we're going to divide ourselves into 16 more states, and then we're going to get 30 more senators. You know, and what happens here? This is the argument that everybody will miss. Everybody is throwing all of their eggs into the federal government, and the federal government will love this. They will absolutely adore this idea of you putting so much power and so much faith and so much control in their hands. It was never meant to be this way. All of the arguments are like, oh, federal money goes to this and federal money goes to that, and I don't want my federal tax money to pay for this. I don't want my federal tax money to pay for that. This is why libertarians are the only true constitutionalists. And I'm going to explain why that's the case. Because libertarians, and this is what everybody misses, what they want to do is they want to take the power away from the federal government. So when Gary Johnson, for example, says, I think deporting 11 million illegal aliens is a terrible idea. Okay, that's his personal opinion. But a libertarian president would say, okay, California, you have an issue with your illegal aliens. You do what you think is best. California, the same thing. And only if the state would say, okay, the issue has gone beyond our ability to deal with, federal government, can you help? Then that's when the federal government, under a libertarian, would step in. only when the state comes to the federal government asking for help. Also, he would do away with the income tax. That would mean that it wouldn't matter anymore whose money was being spent on what. You couldn't make this allegation anymore. There would be no Washington collecting a whole bunch of money and then divvying out to whoever they think is, okay. It would be a consumption tax. Whoever spends the most pays the most. But everybody who buys and consumes pays taxes. That means even illegal aliens. They come here and they get their job doing whatever, mowing lawns or building houses or cleaning rooms or whatever, and they get their little cash paycheck or whatever, and they go down to the store, and let's say they go into a Walmart and they want to buy like a rotisserie chicken for $8. I'm just using that as an example. Well, with a VAT tax, now it's $10. Whether it's that illegal alien that goes in and buys it, or me, or the guy down the street making $100,000 a year, or Mark Zuckerberg. It doesn't matter. We're all going to pay that $2 VAT tax for that thing. So there's going to be no more demagoguery. There's going to be no more pitting the rich against the poor. Yes, the rich are going to buy more things. Of course they're going to buy more things, and they're going to pay more taxes for it. They won't have to buy a dang thing if they don't want to. I suppose you could make $10 million a year and live in a one-bedroom flat paying $600 a month if you wanted to. And you could live a very, very Spartan lifestyle regardless of the money that you earned. But the money that you earned wouldn't be the driver for the taxes. It would only be what you spent. Now, why is that something that libertarians believe is a constitutional way of doing things? Well, this goes back to the Electoral College, and I know this sounds like it's not connected, but it is. How we decide who is the president was something that they made very clear. And this is going to probably upset a lot of people to hear this, but it's going to be the truth. Article 2. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress. What this means is that they are not even required under any constitutional authority whatsoever to hold an election. They don't even have to bother to ascertain the will of the people in their states under the Constitution. The people of the state of Florida could say, the legislature could decide, okay, today, you know what we're going to do? We're going to decide our electors now. We're going to look out the window, and the first 29 guys we see wearing a white shirt and blue pants, those are going to be our electors, and that's how they could do it. If that's what they wanted to do, and there's no constitutional prohibition against it. And we will send them, and they can vote however they see fit. That the state could do that. There is no constitutional requirement for there to even be an election, and this wasn't an oversight on the part of the Founding Fathers. What they wanted to do is they wanted to throw the power to the states. They were the beginning and ending decider of this. Now, when they talk about their legislatures, those state legislatures could be decided however they wanted to be decided. There was no state law saying that there had to be any ascertain. Nobody said anyone had to ascertain the will of the people. So when you see the vote totals from this last election, it was 65 million, 62 million. Those were, according to the Founding Fathers, just suggestions. That's it. Means nothing. In the Electoral College, no election was required as far as ascertaining the will of the people. What they wanted to do was make the federal government as powerless as possible while still maintaining the Union together. Now, this is why Gary Johnson was the best choice. It wasn't because you thought, oh, he believes this and he believes that and he believes the other. What he believes is that his opinion shouldn't be the final say in anything. As the president, that's what you're missing. If he says, I believe in a woman's right to abortion, Okay, fine. Personally, that's what he believes. But what he also believes, more importantly, is that, for example, if the people of the state of California want to say, okay, we want free abortions, taxpayer-funded, state taxpayer-funded abortions, and the people of California go through their process to make that law, the people of California can have that law. If the people of Alabama want to make it a crime punishable by prison to have an abortion, the people of Alabama can go through their process and create that law for themselves. The people of Alabama have spoken. The people of California have spoken. That's what Gary Johnson believes. That's what a libertarian believes. That it isn't the part of the federal government to step in on social issues, to step in on things that don't directly affect the overall well-being of the United States as a whole. Now, I want to play this video again with you thinking about what I just said. Okay, it's a 2-minute video, and I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to re-explain this over and over again, hopefully that people will understand why this issue in California is so important.
Libertarians are fiscally conservative, and socially they really don't give a damn as long as you don't force your social whatever it is on anybody else. I do not support a federal minimum wage. I do not believe in the death penalty. I absolutely support a woman's right to choose. Deporting 11 million illegal immigrants, I think, is a crazy notion. I think that we should embrace immigration. Libertarians are non-interventionists. In fact...
Okay, so what he believes about the woman's right to choose, that's his personal belief, but he doesn't believe it's even a federal issue. A libertarian would necessarily believe that Roe v. Wade would need to be repealed and that it would be left to the states to make their own decision. So even though he believes in the right to choose, he believes that it's up to the states. Non-interventionist. Socially, we don't give a damn. And states would leave it up to localities. And this whole argument about, well, then, people would be crossing borders and there wouldn't be all that baloney. Then let the states work it out. Let the people of California deal with the people of Oregon. Let the people of Nevada deal with the people of Utah. On whatever issues those people have to deal with. Let the people have the power. Let the people have the ability to make the decisions for themselves. I'm going to continue. Non-interventionist. Exactly as what he said here.
We militarily intervene in other countries' affairs, I think, has the unintended consequence of making things less safe in the world. Talking about marriage equality and gay rights, libertarians have been at the forefront of this since 71, since the inception of the Libertarian Party. I don't think the federal government should be involved in telling states how they should deal with transgender issues. In my opinion, transgender people should be allowed to use any bathroom that they want. We need to end the drug war. If I could wave a magic wand, I would eliminate income tax, I would eliminate corporate tax, I would abolish the IRS.
Okay. Sorry about that. Trying to hit the pause button. All right. When you eliminate the income tax, you eliminate the corporate tax, and you eliminate the IRS, you eliminate the ability of the federal government to pick winners and losers. You throw that back to the states. And if you have a governor that oversteps, you have a governor that overreaches, you can recall them. Same thing with mayors. And I know this sounds like it's not related, but it is. The people, believe it or not, the people, not the government, the people of Venezuela are showing you the way. They are showing you how to deal with life when things fall apart. Standing up communes. They're arming themselves, creating their own private currencies, working together, calling out mainstream media lies. This is what I wanted this video to explain, is that our founding fathers had a lot more in common with people like that than our current government, or any member of either party of the Republicrats. You might think this guy is, he's seems like he's a little bit of a loose wheel, and he's not this, and he doesn't know about Aleppo, and blah, 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 and all this. Good. Wonderful. Fantastic. He would be the first to tell you, you know what? Let the people of Texas make the laws for the people of Texas. Let the federal government only be in charge of things that affect the states as a whole. And that's why I thought this video would be so important. Let's see if I can jump back to where I was.
People should be allowed to use any bathroom that they want. We need to end the drug war. If I could wave a magic wand, I would eliminate income tax, I would eliminate corporate tax, I would abolish the IRS because it would no longer be needed to collect those taxes, and I would replace it all with one federal consumption tax. If Congress were to pass legislation that would allow privatization of Social Security, I would sign on to that. I think the campaign finance reform that should take place is unlimited campaign contribution, but 100% transparency. If I'm elected President of the United States and Congress submits to me any legislation to abolish any agency, I'm going to sign on to that. A couple of agencies stick out. One would be Housing and Urban Development. Another one would be the Department of Education. When you watch television, when you read the newspaper, there are only two parties running, Democrats and Republicans. Well, that's not true.
And this is what you miss in this. He wants to eliminate federal agencies, taking power away from the federal government. This is the part of libertarianism that people don't get. They look at the guy, they hear his personal opinions on things, and because they're so used to deferring all of their power, all of their belief systems into their candidate. The administration before this, everybody imprinted on Obama what they wanted him to be and what they thought he would be for them. And this is exactly what's happened with the current administrator. Everybody's imprinted on this guy what they thought he would be for them. The president should never be that powerful. Ever. In this country, it was never designed to be that way. And that's why libertarians are the only constitutionalists out there. They do not want the federal government stepping on states' rights. This is CNN Politics. You can listen to this again for yourself and listen to it with the idea that this guy would give the power back to the states. And his opinion, in his own opinion, would not matter. So, I'll leave it there. Like, share, subscribe.